bit of, I'm gonna have to look at myself the whole time.
That's right. I'll do a pretty good job of turning this monitor for you. There you go.
Just a little bit about me. My name's Matt Basemeyer. I work for Do It Best, so I work exclusively with Do It Best members. I live just outside of Cleveland, about 20 minutes east. I cover all of Ohio, majority of Pennsylvania, about a quarter of New York, majority of Kentucky, a little bit of Michigan, a little bit of Tennessee, a little bit of West Virginia. So I'm all over the place. I have about 430 Do It Best members that I call on. None of them are as important as Orem Hardware. But
dude, that's like $5. Just slow down. I'm not gonna throw $5 every time you say
no,
it.
but we're talking to Rob, and it's important for us to hold these trainings, especially, Orem invested a lot of money into this store, and the turnaround over the last 2 years is incredible, and I can't even begin to tell you how proud I am of this. I mean, it's night and day the difference from when I started calling on them, this store as Arcanum Hardware 7 years ago when I came over to Do It Best to now. So we want to make sure that you guys have the training so that we can start, building that customer base and making sure that they are getting taken care of with every single time they come in that door when it comes to paint. Okay. I've been with Do It Best almost 7 years here in a few months. Before that, I was a general manager of a hardware store for 15 years. So everything you guys are doing, I've been through. I started when I was 16 years old at a hardware store. I went in and applied, and there was a lady that was the store manager. She said, "You're a big guy. Can you lift heavy stuff?" And I said, "Yeah." She said, "Good. You start tomorrow unloading trucks." and it started from there. And I grew within the hardware industry, so it's been a ride. But don't get discouraged. Anything you guys have faced, I've faced before too. So I'm just a phone call away. So anything you need, give me a holler. But again, we want to make sure that you guys are prepared for every single customer that comes into the store and everything that is thrown at you. We want to make sure that you have some sort of answer, because paint can be a little bit confusing, right? You walk down those aisles, there's a lot of different products down there. There's a lot of stuff that you need to know. So we want to make sure you guys are really geared and ready to learn. But real fast, I know not everybody's from this store, and I'm not big on going around and figuring it, but we're going to do it. So I want to know just your name, what store you're from, and how long you've been with Orem.
I'm John. I've been with Orem. This will be 5 years in August.
At this store?
At this store.
Okay.
Retired school teacher.
Oh, okay.
I'm April. I'm the assistant manager of this store, and I started last June.
Okay.
I'm Jean, and I've been here for 5 months
Right? At this store?
at this store.
Okay.
Harold, this store, 6 years.
Okay.
Rob, this store, 1.5 years.
Jenny, this store, 5 months.
Okay.
John, this store, about 5 years.
Jeremiah, this store, about 5 months.
Tiffany, this store, right here in April.
So it is everybody from here. Okay.
You're getting down. You'll get closer.
There's one person.
This store.
Okay. Okay.
Scott, I'm from the Newark store, 2 months.
2 months.
Kevin, I'm from this store, about 5 years.
Lisa, this store, about 5 years.
Dave, I've been here this store 17, almost 18 years, but with Orem since they
Wow.
acquired this.
So I think he's the winner, right? Is he the winner for longevity? That's
Just
great.
because Glenn's not here. I think, does Glenn got you beat?
If Glenn was here, he'd be.
Okay.
Has everybody beat.
That's a lot of years in here, but we got some newcomers too. So make sure you guys are leaning on these folks that have been here a while as well to help you through this process. Because again, when you walk into that paint department, it's confusing. There's a lot of different gallons, a lot of different tint bases, and all that stuff. So don't get overwhelmed. Lean on your folks here. But what I'm going to do is I'm just going to do a brief training on what you guys carry in the store. To me, it's not super technical. Your customers, it's very rare that your customers will ask technical questions about paint. The most important thing with paint is your customer is getting the color, right? So that the color rack is the most important tool you guys have in your paint department. So I have to give you guys a hard time about it. This is one little thing I'll beat you up on. There's some color cards missing down there. So make sure that we get you guys trained on how to order those and everything. But I look at it, so out of stocks was always one of my pet peeves when I ran a hardware store, right? If something's out of stock, that means it was sold because somebody needed it. So now you're out of stock on something somebody needs. So when colors are out of stock, that's something that somebody needs. To me, you know, you got 6, 7 colors on that strip. That's 6 or 7 out of stocks right there for me. So you're really selling colors, what it comes down to. So that chip rack needs to be full at all times. It needs to be fully lit. That is the most important tool that you guys have within your paint department.
Yeah, my first question is, it's not asked very often, but it does get asked on occasion.
Mm-hmm.
Who makes our paint? So that we
So-
have that in the back of our head. It's nice to be able to throw a name down that they
Absolutely.
may or may not be familiar with.
Great. And this, I want questions like this thrown at me. This is, the more informal, the better. I'm not a form. I don't, you know, we're just going to throw questions against the wall and we'll just answer everything that we can for you. Your paint is made by Sherwin-Williams. And we are Sherwin-Williams' oldest customer, is Do It Best. And if you ever have questions, if you look on the back of this can, it says, manufactured by the Sherwin-Williams Company, distributed exclusively by Do It Best Corp. We are the only company, Sherwin-Williams makes paint for a lot of people. We're the only company that Sherwin-Williams puts their name on the can. It's pretty impressive, right? Again, a long history with those guys. They take great care of us. Now that's on your best looking color solutions. Accolade is also, it's made by Sherwin-Williams. It used to be on their own, but Sherwin-Williams bought Accolade, so it's still manufactured separately, but Sherwin-Williams owns the Accolade brand. So there's actually, Sherwin-Williams owns most of the stuff in your paint department. So all your bucket paint, duckback stains, Purdy paint brushes, Thompson's Water Seal, Minwax, White Lightning caulk, there's a ton more, Krylon, all that is owned by Sherwin-Williams. They own everybody, they're a big player. But they do make the paint.
Thank you.
Yep. But going back to the color rack again, that color rack is so important to be clean, full, well lit. That's what draws people in, right? And once people are at that rack and they get their color picked out, believe me, don't hesitate to help them with that color. Sometimes people want that help, but a lot of times people come in now. These stores used to have, you know, 80 feet. And when I first came to Do It Best, I was doing an analysis for a member, and they were trying to figure out, you know, how much footage they needed for each little section of their paint department. So I went and visited Lowe's, Home Depot, Menards, all of them, and I averaged out. Home Depot was averaging 88 feet of color. Lowe's was averaging 80 feet of color. And now, if you go in there and look, it's shrunk down drastically. And the reason is people are using different ways to get their colors down. So back in the day, when I first started in hardware, people would come in and they'd just going up and down that rack looking at colors, right? It's not that way anymore. Where do people get their color ideas from?
Media.
DIY.
Yeah, exactly right. HGTV, Pinterest, you know, Facebook, everything. So they typically will have a color in mind when they walk in the door. So if you go out there and look at the ones you're missing, guess which ones you're missing?
Most popular.
Most popular ones, which are right now. What's popular?
Gray.
Gray. All your grays are hot right now. So the bottom left corner of your chip rack, and I see it in every store, those are the ones that are flying out here right now. But the grays. But people have an idea of what color they want. So they'll come in now and really focus on that as opposed to going up and down looking at every single color. But once they have that color, it's up to you guys to get them into the correct product. Because there's a bunch of different products over there, right? How do you get them into the correct product?
That's the one that's blind.
Where
How they
else?
paint.
Interior, exterior.
Yeah.
Is that the first question?
Just- It's just asking questions.
Kitchen, bathroom.
Yeah.
Living room.
Exactly. So there's a bunch of questions. What I'll do is I'll get over to Rob and April. I have a list of questions that you ask every DIY painter that helps you narrow down the product. Because as a consumer, when you walk in and you see Color Solutions, Best Look, Accolade, Pro Hide Silver, Master Touch, you have all these different products down there. It is confusing, right? So if you ask that question, right, you could take that whole aisle and shrink it down to about right here. So now you're also helping them be more confident to purchase, right? By saying, you mentioned that you want to paint that is scrubbable, it's going into your kid's room, and you want something that's going to apply pretty easily. This is why this is the best product for you. So you ask them the right questions, you get them into that product line, and it gets them more confident in the process and more confident in the sale. So we're going to go through some of your paint line. We're actually going to do, and I hope it's okay with you, what we're going to do interior paints, all your bucket paints here, and we'll talk about applicators a little bit, but then I want to go out to the floor to do exterior stain. So we'll all go out in the aisle and do exterior stain. It's easier for me because there's so many different SKUs of exterior stain out there. So I want to make sure that you guys are, because that's going to be stain season, believe it or not. It doesn't look like it, but it's going to be stain season here in about a month and a half. So I want to make sure you're ready for that. So Accolade. What does everybody know about Accolade? Throw stuff out. The best paint.
The best paint that we have.
The best paint that you have. Great coverage. What else? You know what I typically hear when I say that? There you go. Expensive, right? Knee-jerk reaction, expensive. So we need to get over that stigma, okay? Expensive. Well, people in Arcana don't want to spend $45 on a gallon of paint. How do you know that? You don't know that, right? They're willing to spend money on a product that's going to work, right? So people, especially when you're doing a paint job, a lot of times you don't need a couple gallons. And I'll tell you stories about Accolade and situations I've used it where I've actually saved money. But Accolade is your best product that you guys have. To me, it's the best product that we offer at DuoPest as a wall coating, interior and exterior. Super durable, super scrubbable. Just a very high-end, nice, clean finish. We just had this sent in right here. So these are all colors of Accolade. This paint right here, which is a light color, that is one coat over top of those dark coats. That's pretty amazing, right? So this is a great tool for you guys to use. If you have a customer over there and you ask them, what are you covering over? You say, well, it's my kid's room, and it's like a bright pink. Every teenage girl wants bubblegum pink, right? And then they get about 15 and they're over that, right?
Yeah.
So when you cover back over that, you know, you can show them, hey, this is going to cover right on top of that, and show them this board. This is one coat. That's incredible, right? So a couple stories about Accolade. When they came out, 2 years ago, they came out with a new formulation of Accolade, which is what you guys have, Accolade Premium Paint Primer. It came out two and a half years ago. There's 12 of us across the company for DuoPest. So we have a guy in California, we got a guy in Mississippi, in Boston. We're all spread out. But we all came to Cleveland, to the Sherwin-Williams facilities when they came out with the new Accolade to try the new products. And again, I told you guys, I have a hardware background, and I know DIY hardware, but I'm not a super technical paint guy. So a lot of guys on our team have in-depth paint knowledge. They've been in the paint industry for 30, 40 years. So they took this paint, and they had it tinted, and they had 6 of its competitors laid out on the table. So they had 7 products. They took the labels off. They didn't tell us what was what. And we're in this big facility, and they had drywall hung up on the wall with a black stripe across the middle of it. And we had to use all those paints, see how it covered over those stripes, and they gave us a little scorecard, the little golf scorecard, and had little categories, and you had to grade it based on wet hide, dry hide, how it felt rolling onto the roller, how it felt releasing onto the wall, all of this stuff. And what really struck me, again, so I'm a typical DIY painter. I want something that's going to cover, it's going to save me some time. You know, that's really what most DIYers are looking for, right? Something that's going to cover and save them time. But we had these guys that were so technical. They were dipping their fingers in this paint. They were watching how it dripped, check out the viscosity. They were smelling it. And what the hell are these guys doing?